now we're ready to start. I don't know why I'm so excited today, guys. Honestly, it's unbelievable. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel, Being the Missus. Today my video is going to be a little bit different, and it's different because it's not pregnancy related, it's not baby related, it's not marriage related, it's housing related. Yay! Let me calm down, let me settle myself. Okay, I've had a minute. Yeah, it's more about buying a house, especially if it is your first house. Now I wanted to share some tips and some tricks. It's not really a trick, but yeah, just some tips or what you can expect when you are purchasing your first property, how to go about it. And everything I'm telling you is based on my own experience, myself and my husband's experience, and yeah, it's not based on like me just forging some stuff out of thin air. No, it's based on our real life experience. Okay. So let's get into the video. Step one, yeah, is you need to decide what your purpose is of buying a house. Like, I feel like a lot of people have different reasons why they want to buy their first house, and this is especially for first time buyers, not really for what's it called, experienced buyers, shall I say. First time buyer, what's your purpose? Are you building a family, starting a family? Are you expanding your family? You just want to get on the property ladder? You want to buy a house because you want to run away from your mother and father? You want to buy a house because you feel like, okay, you know what, I'm at that age now, I need to start thinking of my next step. Whatever your purpose is, write it down, decide what you want. This purpose will affect what you are looking for. So for example, if you're looking to start a family or expand your family, then maybe at the moment you're renting or you're staying in a 2-bedroom house and you want to go up to a 4-bedroom house. If you're a singleton, you might only want a 2-bedroom property. If you are just trying to get onto the property ladder, you wouldn't mind having a 1-bedroom property. So that's what I'm saying. Figure out your purpose of buying a property, write it down, then start to write down, okay, how many bedrooms? This is based on your purpose, like I've just explained. 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 4 bedroom, 8 bedroom, 100 bedroom, that's your business. That's your business. Write it down, know what you want. The next thing you want to do is also to start thinking about your location. Now, your location, is it somewhere that you've lived before? If you lived in Birmingham all your life with your mom and dad, do you want to stay in Birmingham? Maybe if you're expanding your family or starting a family, you want to stay close to either your parents, his parents, her parents, whoever's parents, so that they can help look after the kids. Do you want to, pardon me, always burping. Do you want to look at a property that is close to your workplace or that is commutable to your workplace? That's another thing. So yeah, begin to think about all these things, write them down. The reason I'm saying write it down is because you come back in a week's time and you're like, hey, where did I say I want to buy again? What did I say? That's not being serious. You need to be serious. Write it down, know your vision, make it plain, okay? Yeah, so write all those things down. Location, I think I've already touched on size, or maybe I should touch on the style. Are you looking to have a detached home? What's your preference? Detached, semi-detached, terrace, end of terrace? Do you want to live in a close? Do you want to live in on the main when I say main street, I mean like a busy road? Do you want a garage? Do you want off-street parking? Do you want what else can I say? Do you want a new build as well? That's another question. So what's your style? Do you want something new? Do you want to, a lot of people don't like living in houses that have already been lived in. So I'll say this, I think it's like a not suspicion, what's it called, what's Yeah, so they don't want to live in a house that other people have lived in. They don't want to live in a house that is close to a graveyard. They don't want to live in a house that is somebody has died in. So like say an old person has passed away in the property. They don't want to. So write all those things down. You know, what do I like? What do I want to see? Where do I want to live? Just cross your legs, write it down. Don't go on the internet, because if you go on the internet, it will burst your bubble real quick. Okay, step back for a bit and write it all down. That's great. Awesome, you've written it down. Now the next thing you want to do is you want to have a look. So in my example, I am moving because I want to be able to start a family. I want a location that I can commute into London because I work in London, and this is just an example. And I want to my parents live in London, hubby's parents live in London, so I don't want somewhere that's too far away from London, like maybe an hour's drive maximum. And I'm looking for like a 3-bedroom house. Yeah, 3-bedroom. And yeah, I don't want it to be attached to no one else. I want my own land. I don't want a flat. I don't want an apartment. You know what? Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay for me. That's my step 1. I've written it down. So I would go onto the internet. I would say, okay, do you know what? Do I prefer to go in the north direction and the south direction? And what I mean by that is, so there's London. I always classify London as the middle of UK, as the middle of everywhere, because why? My family is from London. Everybody's from London. I live in London. So yeah. So I would say London. So north of London, you have like Milton Keynes. You have the Midlands. You have Manchester. You have Scotland, if you want to go that far. Then in the south of London, well, south of London, not South London, south of London, you have Kent, you have, I consider South London like Kenty sort of area, Plymouth, Portsmouth, Cornwall, Southampton, like all them ends. You can see I'm not too pleased in it. I studied in Portsmouth, so I'm like, nah, not that direction, let's go up. So in my example, I've picked Milton Keynes. So now I'm looking at Milton Keynes, you know, my fantastic detached house that's 1 hour away from London, and all of this and all of that. That's great. Now I can see that, okay, do I like what I'm seeing? If I do, the next thing I want to do is work out my budget. Now this is where your budget goes in, because now you've familiarized yourself with what you can expect. So the reason that I personally recommend that it's better to have a look first is because I feel like sometimes we might not really know how much stuff costs. You know, you want to buy a bottle of water. Now a bottle of water typically costs like 50p to a pound, just for one single bottle of water, 50p to a pound. But you might not know this. You might think, oh, do you know what, houses or bottles of water usually cost 35p. And yes, in some places it could, however on average it doesn't. So you need to familiarize yourself with what it typically can cost. So that's why I wanted you to have a look before setting your budget. Now it's time to set your budget. Now you want to look at your monthly income and your monthly expense. You also want to look at any current debts that you have. So I don't mean student loan, because in the UK student loan doesn't affect your trying to get a mortgage. So you kind of want to look at credit cards, car loans, any sort of things that are still pending, so sort of debt, let me just call it debt, any sort of debt. See what you have, know that figure. Then you also need to know how much you have saved so far. So far I've saved £20,000. And for me, I like searching on Rightmove is it Rightmove and Zoopla, because when you scroll down to the bottom, it will give you an average estimate of what you can expect to pay mortgage and what you can expect to pay in council tax. So that's a figure to have in your head as well. Now it's time to talk to a financial advisor or a mortgage advisor. Mortgage broker, sorry. I'm so excited today, guys. Yeah, so now it's time to talk to your mortgage broker. I've heard a lot of people saying that they have been able to secure a mortgage broker that would get them a mortgage for free, so they pay no fees. That's fine if you're able to find one, if you're able to find somebody that you trust, or you know, maybe like word of mouth, somebody has recommended them to you, that's fine, and you trust them. However, on average, I think you should be looking about 200, maximum £300 to spend on a mortgage broker. So mortgage broker is somebody that will help you, you know, look at your options of which mortgages can you afford at the moment based on your current salary, based on your expenses, based on any debts that you have, based on your monthly ingoings and outgoings. So they would help you figure that out, and they would give you a list. Now, when you speak to your initial meeting with your mortgage broker, you can ask them to do an affordability check. Now, this check does not, it's a soft check. It's not going to affect your credit score at all. Or you can do this check at home by yourself. I think it's called a mortgage calculator. The only reason I'm saying that your mortgage broker should do it is because sometimes they're able to get you a little bit of a better deal than what you would find online. So this is usually your salary times 4 point something. I would research that. I want to say 4.5, but it might not be 4.5. So this will give you a figure of how much the bank will be willing to lend to you to buy a house. So you've spoken to your mortgage advisor, and at this stage as well, personally, I wouldn't recommend that you get a mortgage in principle or a decision in principle, but you can just know what they are likely to give you. And your mortgage advisor, he or she will also tell you what the banks can currently give you in your current situation based on all of these things. Awesome. With your mortgage broker, sorry, I keep using it wrong. With your mortgage broker, you would need to provide them with a few documents. I think we had to provide 3 months paycheck. We had to provide proof of address, proof of current address. You are who you say you are. Awesome. Next, now you know how much you can realistically afford. Now, what do you do? You go back onto Rightmove, Zoopla, whatever search engine you like searching. You go on there and you look again. Now you can filter out houses in your location. You can filter out houses in that price limit or price budget. And for example, if they say, oh, the maximum we'll give you is 200, still look around 225, I would say. Why? Because there's a lot of renegotiating that will happen, and it could get you down to 200 if you are very, very good. You could be able to, you know, get a bargain. And because you are a first-time buyer as well, a lot of people would like that, because it's easier to deal with a first-time buyer than it is to deal with somebody who's waiting to sell their house before they can buy a house. It's in a chain basically. So that might give you some negotiating power. So now you've filtered out, you've had a look, okay, can I still afford, you know, like like I used in my example, Milton Keynes, so and so bedroom, so and so location, detached. Can I still afford that? Can I select more options, like looking at a semi-detached or looking at a terrace property, maybe within the same location, maybe minus 1 bedroom if I'm just a single person, or whatever the case is. Whatever criteria you're willing to sacrifice, I would definitely say add that into your search and then see what you get. Now is the perfect time for you to go out and start viewing these properties. So I would suggest you commit like maybe a Saturday to viewing properties, and in that Saturday you see 3 or 4 properties. Don't see a lot of properties, because you will get, honestly, you will get a headache and you get tired during the day and stuff like that. But if you're going down to your chosen location, look at the properties there, see it for yourself. Is this really what I want? Actually, I said I wanted a detached blah blah, but actually I think I might like a semi-detached, or actually I don't mind living in a flat, or actually this, or actually that. You've had the experience firsthand. If you're not able to afford what you would have liked, you might consider changing your location. You might say, okay, I can't live in Milton Keynes. Can I go just up just to Bedfordshire area? Can I go up to just the beginning of the Midlands sort of area? Should I look towards Luton sort of area? How can I, stay within that, radius, but just a bit further out? So that might be another tip for you as well. Do your searching, do your research, do your viewings and stuff like that. When you feel like you have found the perfect property and you feel like you have negotiated to a price that you're comfortable paying, now is a good time to, before you do that actually, when you are going house viewing, the things that you need to look out for is ask the owners or the estate agent, how old is this property? What is the age? Look out for cracks. Don't go and look at how pretty they've decorated it. You need to look out for cracks. How old is the boiler? The boiler needs to be changed every 10 to 15 years, I think. So if they tell you the boiler is about 18 years old, you know that it's going to come up shortly after you've moved in, then it's going to be time to change the boiler. You don't want that. You want to ask, okay, what's the demographics of the neighborhood? Are there a lot of elderly people? Are there a lot of young people? Maybe if you're starting a family, you don't mind a lot of young people, a lot of young couples and stuff. Maybe if you're looking for a quiet place, you don't want to be disturbed, then again, you don't mind if it's elderly people, because they're usually generally very quiet anyway. What are other things do you want to ask? Schools, you look at schools around that location as well. Does it make sense? Is it close to the train station? Is it close to the shops? Is it close to your job? You ask those questions because those are the things that are going to affect your day-to-day life, So yeah, so now it's time to put in your offer based on all those things. And like I said, based on your negotiation skills, you might be able to beat it down a couple of £1,000. Never go in at the asking price, honestly. If they're like it's 225, please do not be like, oh yeah, I'll pay 225, because they're likely to accept anyway, and they're really looking at somebody that can pay maybe 215. That's what they want, but they would put it up anyway. So do your research, see how much houses in that area or in that street have been selling for, and then base it on that as well. Use that, add that into your negotiation, what price your offer. That's it. Also, you want to look at if the house needs a lot of work. Do you have the extra capital, the extra money to go in and do that work straight away? So these are the things that you need to be looking at, honestly, because a house is a big expense, and for a lot of people it's a 25-year investment because they're paying their mortgage for 25 years. So you want to try and get it as right as possible. Assuming you found the perfect house, you've made your offer, it's been negotiated back and forth or whatever, and then it's been accepted. Now the sellers have accepted your offer. Now you can then go back to your mortgage broker and ask for a mortgage in principle or a decision in principle. People call it different things, but ideally it's like it's like the bank saying, or the lender saying, yeah, we can commit to giving you this, but we haven't given it to you yet, but we can commit to giving you this. So it's like a document. So once you have that, you pass that on to the estate agent, because they would ask for that. They would also ask you for your solicitors, like who are your solicitors. Now in our experience, we ended up asking our mortgage broker for her own solicitors. Now they don't work with any solicitor, but she was like, oh, the people who she's used to buy her house, these are the people. So we ended up using the same people. Solicitors are just they're quite hard to work with, and it really tests your communication skills, honestly, and it tests your patience, it tests your everything. It tests you as a human being. So yeah, it is at this point where he or she, your mortgage broker, is getting you your decision in principle, your mortgage in principle. This is when they would ask for their own fee beforehand, like them checking your affordability, them doing, you know, everything that they were doing. They technically shouldn't be asking you for any money at that point. It's at the point where they've actually done work, so getting you your decision in principle, mortgage in principle, that's when they can officially like ask you for money, like their own payment. Like I said, this should be £200 to £300, shouldn't be more than that, honestly. And it depends where you live. If you live way outside London, then hopefully you can get that for a lot cheaper. Next thing you need to do is you need to carry out, or you need to organize a home buyers report done. RICS home buyers report, RICS home buyers report. Now this is very, very, very important for us, especially. We wanted to find out if the property had any asbestos, for example, if the property had any structural issues. They wouldn't do a deep structural check, but they would be able to see one or two things that they'll be like, check this, check that. Now they would also be able to check the age of the property and confirm that, you know, the estate agents are telling the truth, the sellers are telling the truth. They would check for cracks, they would check for molding, they would check for what else did they check for? They would check for radon as well. They will tell you if the property is in a high radon area. They would check, they would confirm, they would confirm the age of the boiler. They do so many checks, and to be honest, I find that very useful, because I'm like, you know what, let them do it, because they're trained to do it, they know what they're looking for, and so on. So it's better that they do that. Then, depending on the results of that, you can go in and renegotiate if you want to. If you don't like what you see, you can renegotiate. If you don't like what you see, you can leg it and look for a different property. But this is your chance now. Now you can tell your solicitors you're happy with everything, happy to move forward based on the report. Your solicitors will also carry out their own checks. I think that's what they're called. And these are like environmental searches. They look at the water drainage and stuff like that. Like, they do what they're gonna do anyway. I think the solicitors handle the last bit of it, to be honest, which is solicitor to solicitor. They will ask you to check some documents. Are you happy with the documents? They would provide you with, they would ask the sellers to fill out a form saying where all the meters are, the condition of the house, what they're going to live in the house. They live in the cooker, they live in the stove, cooker and stove, same thing. They live in the cooker, they live in the fridge, or they live in blah blah blah. Be careful, read this properly, because say it's like an inbuilt kitchen where like the fridge is like a cupboard from the outside, like the washing machine is like a cupboard from the outside, like inbuilt in it. Check this, because sometimes they can rip it out and take it with them. There's no obligation, but then once they've put it in the documents to say they're gonna live this, they're gonna live that, they're gonna live that, then fine, you know what you're expecting. You guys will get a completion date, and that is the date where contracts will be exchanged and hopefully mortgages will be exchanged. Now your solicitor is the person who is going to speak to the lender and release the funds to the lender. The funds will be released through the solicitor organizes it basically. The solicitor will also tell you when to pay your deposit. It will be way close to the completion date. In our experience, it was very close to the completion date. Do not pay any deposit money earlier than that. What you would pay for would be your searches and any other checks that your solicitor need to carry out. They didn't even ask for their fee in our case until everything had been done. Then they were like, oh yeah, come and pay the fee. So we paid the fee with the deposit, but it was very close to the completion date. So yeah, you have your completion date. That's the day that you can pick up your keys, hopefully, as well, or you can arrange a different day, but that will be stated in the documents. On so and so day I will pick up my keys and stuff like that. Yeah, our experience, that's how we carried out buying our first home. But if you guys have any questions, please leave them down below in the comment box, or can you say, I still don't know if you can send private messages, but leave them down in the comment box, or send a private message if you can. And I have to say bye now, the card is gonna run out. But I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for tuning in, watching this. Please subscribe and please share to anybody who you feel like it will be helpful. Have a lovely day. Go for your 1 exercise a day. Make sure you do. Take care and enjoy, guys. Bye bye.